Hi, good morning, everybody. I am so excited today to be here with Catherine Manning, author of Be the Dragon. This book, if you haven't gotten a chance to look at it, it's so freaking cute. I love it. I adore it so much. I'm really excited for today. So there will be a story time, a couple of short stories that the author is going to read aloud to us, as well as a quiz that we all take to find out what kind of dragon we are. And I need to know what type of dragon I am. I'm so excited to find out. So stick around for that as well. It's my pleasure to introduce Catherine Manning today, who is a children's book writer and editor in Los Angeles. Be the Dragon is filled with hands-on activities, quests and quizzes, exciting stories, charming illustrations that every young reader will discover firsthand how to slay their fears and find their inner power. So this book is a guide on how to be the dragon, which means filled with courage, kindness, light, compassion, positivity, and so much more. So thank you so much, Catherine, for being here. Thank you all who are starting your morning out here today. Before I kick things off to Catherine, just a little rundown for everybody who has not worked with Crowdcast before. To your right is a chat function. So you can chat here, talk about how awesome dragons are. I don't know, maybe talk about unicorns too, however you want to talk. But if you have a question that you do want to ask the author, don't forget to ask the question in the little Ask a Question box right below. So don't ask it in the chat. We won't see it. Ask it in the Ask a Question box. I think that's it. I'm going to let you take it away. I'm going to disappear off screen and we'll get ready for story time.
That sounds great. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Yay. Hi, everyone. I'm Catherine Manning. I'm so happy to be here to talk about my new book, Be the Dragon, which is Melanie Demmer. So as we were just talking about, the book is about getting those keys to unlock your inner magic. And I'm not sure if you all know this, but we all have this inner dragon inside and have all of these powers and magical abilities. And this book is just finding the ways to find them, discover them, and let them all out and become the truest, best versions of ourselves. So in this book, we help you on your journey with some stories about my favorite dragon legends, some quizzes to help you find out more about that inner magic inside, and also some fun activities, which we call quests. So today I'm going to read a couple of my favorite of the short stories about some dragon heroes, and then I'll lead you in a quiz to figure out what type of dragon you are to help you get started. So for the quiz, you might want to get a little piece of paper and a pencil out to mark down your answers, or maybe you'll just remember the letters you pick, but just a heads up, that's coming at the end. So the first story that we're going to look at today is about Bethelina the Brave. Here's a really charming illustration of her. She's an air dragon. And it's called Finding Your Roar. All right. Before Bethelina journeyed to find the great egg, she was known as Bethelina the Brave in her homeland, the cliffs of Kartiwa. Bethelina took it upon herself to protect others. As an air dragon, she loved flying high above the cliffs, and this allowed her to seek out those in need of her assistance. No matter who she came across, a few ground dragons being bullied by spiders, yes, spiders, like heroes, bullies come in all shapes and sizes too, or a group of fellow air dragons practicing their wind gusts, Bethelina swooped in to help. Soon, she was known for her roars that crashed like thunder, letting everyone within 1,000 miles know she was coming. She could bellow for justice and boom for peace. There wasn't a drop of anger underneath her thick hide. Bethelina simply knew the importance of letting each of her roars speak for itself. And whenever she heard others cry out for help, she was there to turn their upset roars into happy ones. One day, she heard a particularly sad roar carry across the wind. This was a rumble roar. She circled the cliffs until she found a fellow air dragon slumped on a hill. The sounds of birds tweeting nearby made the dragon's low moan even more heartbreaking. Bethelina asked the dragon how she could help him. He looked up at her and sighed. Nothing could help. He was just sad. Here's an illustration of the dragon and Bepalina. Bepalina frowned, but of course she could help. This is what she did. This was what her bravery was for, helping. She let loose her flying roar. She could go anywhere to get something for him. The sad dragon only shook his head. Bepalina let out her negotiation roar. She could discuss any dispute he might be having with another creature. The sad dragon shook his head again. Bepalina let out her most fearsome roar, the kind she made when she was making her last stand to protect another. The sad dragon shook his head once more. He did not need protecting. This just happened sometimes. Bepalina let out a roar of frustration so massive that it startled the flock of birds. Feeling guilty, she trotted after them and saw they had perched together again on a nearby rock. That gave her an idea. Bepalina made her way back up the hill to the sad dragon. Then she sat beside him. She listened to his sad rumble roar all evening. She did not roar back or say or do anything to try to help. She was simply there. After a few hours, the dragon stood up and stopped his sorrowful roar. He looked at Bepalina. It has passed, he said. His voice sounded like the fresh clip of clouds parting after a summer storm. Thank you. Bepalina was stunned, but she thanked the dragon in turn. She would continue to use her flying roar and her negotiation roar and her fearsome roar and all the rest to help those in need. But she would never again underestimate the power of allowing every dragon to let out their own roars, or the patience to simply be there for them. That's the end of Bepalina's legend. Here's one more shot of Bepalina and the sad dragon. All right, we're going to move on to the next short story. This one's about Jabber the Just. And there he is. He's in the water there in the middle, the orange one. And the tip that comes with this story is take good care of yourself so you can take care of others. And this story is called Guard Your Treasure. Many moons ago, Jabber the Just was just a water dragon from the Padella Peninsula. He liked feeling calm and relaxed. He loved floating about and finding colorful shells. He also enjoyed taking his time to examine everything, coral, kelp, sea books, from all angles. One day, he heard some arguing outside of his grotto. Swimming over to investigate, he found two water dragons arguing over a piece of star cucumber. I found it, so I should be the one to have it, one of the water dragons explained. You found this treasure in front of my sea cove, the other dragon chimed in. Therefore, it should be mine. Jabber thought for a moment. You each have a point and an equal claim to this treasure. I believe the fair thing to do would be to cut the star cucumber in half so you both can enjoy it. The dragons blinked at him and then looked at each other. We never thought of that, one of the dragons said. Good idea, the other said. So Jabber cut the star cucumber and handed the equal pieces to both dragons, who thanked him for his help. Soon word spread about Jabber's ability to look at a problem from all sides and offer a fair solution. Creatures from far and wide would travel to ask him all sorts of problems. The merfolk needed a schedule for when they could blast their favorite music and not bother their neighbors. A local school of fish had to find a new location for their watercolor club. Someone had to ask a particularly enthusiastic water dragon to hold off from rain roaring at least one day a week so that a ground dragon's hydrangeas could grow. One day, a new problem arrived that wasn't so easily solved. Jabber started to feel off, and he wasn't sure why. Sure, he was very busy, and he found himself getting home to his sea cove later and later, but he liked helping other creatures. The next day, he worked from sunup to sundown, solving one problem after the next. He was so good at helping to solve problems that he didn't realize how quickly the time had passed or how many creatures he had seen until he got home. His head ached, his paws were sore from cheering each problem solved. His heart was weary. In the morning, he ignored his alarm and the critters knocking at his door. He stayed in bed until he was ready to start the day. He made his favorite seaweed pancakes for breakfast. Then he took his favorite book, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, out to his favorite rock in the cove where he could lie half in the shade, half in the sun, and read all day long. There are his kelp pancakes. There's his favorite book, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Here's his suntan lotion, because even dragons need to protect their scales. "What's Jabber doing?" one of the merfolk whispered. "Why is he ignoring us today?" the fairies asked. "Does he still want to be our friend?" the fish wondered aloud. The crowd around his rock had grown so large that finally Jabber put his book aside and sat up. "Of course I'm still your friend," he said, "and I'm not ignoring you today. But after looking at the problem from all sides, I've realized that I cannot help you take care of your needs if I do not take care of myself." Jabber had been so focused on helping others find creative solutions to guard their treasures, he lost track of his own, the treasure buried inside of him. He'd forgotten how much he liked to take things slow, how important it was for his body to feel calm and relaxed, how much he loved floating. Then Jabber slid into the water to float, and to his surprise, the merfolk and the fish floated right alongside him while the fairies hovered above. From that day on, one day a week, the creatures needing some comfort would gather at Jabber's sea cove. There, they would spend the afternoon looking up at the sky as they floated, refreshing their own particular magic and treasures in the company of their friends. The end. And there's like a little ending piece here that says, "More valuable than gold, your heart, your mind, you." And his hat that says relax. Sometimes it's important to take things slow and relax, huh? All right, as promised, now is the time for our quiz to discover what kind of dragon we are. We heard about a few types in these stories, Bepalina being an air dragon and Jabber being a water dragon. There's a few more types too. So the first step on our journey to discovering our inner dragon is to find out what kind of dragons we are. So this quiz is called Know Yourself. And if you have that piece of paper and pencil, or you just have your minds ready, we'll get started. All right, first question. Where would you most like to live? A, near the ocean. B, on a mountain. C, in a forest. D, in the desert. E, on a savanna. Everybody got their letter? Okay, number 2. What is the best feeling in the world? A, being fresh and clean after a bath. B, the wind on your snout. C, grass tickling your hide. D, the sun warming your scales. E, moonlight washing over you. What's the best feeling? All right, number 3. You would describe yourself as A, caring. B, brave. C, curious. D, passionate. Or E, calm. What best describes you right now? Sometimes we all have a little bit of everything, but right now, what are you feeling? Number 4, what do you dislike the most? A, heat. B, crowds. C, heights. D, cold. Or E, mornings. Number 5, I don't know if you can hear, my little dragon is outside. He's ready to find out his results too. Number 5, what magical power sounds the coolest? A, controlling the weather. B, flying. C, invisibility. D, breathing fire. Or E, night vision. Number 6, what is your best subject in school? A, science. B, art. C, math. D, PE. Or E, English. Everyone got their letter? Number 7, What sounds like the best way to spend an afternoon? A, swimming. B, getting into a snowball fight. C, exploring. D, going to the beach. Or E, baking for your clan or your family or your friends. Number 8, what is your biggest pet peeve, or what is something that kind of ruffles your feathers or gets under your skin? A, someone tugging on your tail. B, getting dirty. C, being cooped up inside. D, being told what to do. Or E, not finishing a book or project. What makes you most irritated? Number 9, what color would you paint your cave or grotto or room? A, blue. B, white. C, green. D, red. Or E, yellow. And finally, number 10, how would you describe your clan? And your clan could be your family, your chosen family, your friends, the people you hang out with. How would you best describe them? A, you have a lot of distant cousins. B, you all tend to do your own thing. C, you do your best bonding one-on-one and outside. D, you have a lot of loud talkers. Or E, you tend to eat dinner and dessert together often. All right, those are all 10 questions. Now take a look at your results and add up how many of each letter you have and which letter you have the most. Do you have mostly A's, mostly B's, mostly C's, D's, or E's? I'll let you guys tally it up real quick, and then we'll read the results. And while we're tallying, you can see the beautiful illustrations on the quiz results. This guy's a water dragon like Jabber was. This is an air dragon like Bepalina. This is a ground dragon. This guy's a fire dragon. You can see him breathing some fire. This one's a moon dragon. All right, let's see what you all came up with. All right, mostly A's. You are a water dragon. Residing in oceans, rivers, lakes, and the occasional rainforest, water dragons are usually calm and thoughtful creatures. They love fish, music, and stormy weather, especially when they get to create it. They have weather powers. They dislike dry heat and having their tails tugged. Water dragons' powers include making it rain, healing, and breathing underwater. All right, mostly B's. You are air dragons down here. Mountaintops, cliffs, or other places with a high elevation are the places these dragons call home. They love cloud watching, playing in the snow, and whistling. They are not fans of dirt or large crowds. Their powers often consist of becoming invisible, or cloaking is another word for that, super speed, and blowing big gusts of wind. All right, mostly C's. You all are ground dragons. These great beasts live mostly in caves, forests, or on savannas. Their interests include exploring, grass, and belly rubs. They will avoid scary stories and spiders. Ground dragons have super strength and camouflage abilities, so they can hide really well and are whizzes at charms. All right, mostly D's. You are fire dragons, this guy right here. Most often, these dragons live in deserts and on tropical islands because they love the heat. They also tend to like sports, sand, and cooking, particularly roasting and barbecuing. They do not enjoy the cold or being told what to do. Their powers include breathing fire, age shifting, and immunity. And finally, mostly E's right here, you are moon dragons. These gentle giants live anywhere with a good view of the sky, particularly on savannas and plains. They come out at night and love sweets, tie-dye, crystals, and a good story. They tend to dislike mornings and public speaking. Their powers include glowing, night vision, and future telling. Woohoo! Did you all get your results? Oh, I see some questions too. Oh, wonderful. Okay, so that's the end of the quiz, and we can jump to these questions. So the first question here from Christina, thank you for asking, is what age range is this book best for? That's a good question. So the range that we sort of think about for this book is 7 to 10 years old, but really it could be fun for the whole family. We have lots of really interesting quizzes and fun activities that could be a family activity, like dance parties, arts and crafts, some STEM activities, baking. So really it could be anybody is, from 7 and above is good for this book. And even my 2-year-old dragon has fun looking at the pictures. All right, and then the next question here, what was the inspiration to write Be the Dragon? That's a really good question. So at the Women's March in 2018 in Washington, D.C., there was a young protester in the crowd who had this sign that said something like, I'm not the damsel, I am the dragon. And we thought, oh gosh, that is such a wonderful message for young people, but also people of all ages to remember their inner power and their inner magic, and flip the script there from damsel in distress to powerful dragon. And we sort of ran with it and thought, all right, we're going to make this book, this guide to how to become that powerful dragon. All right. Were there any other questions? Doesn't look like it. Okay. Well, thank you all. Oh, any plans for another book? Good question. No plans at the moment, but who knows? We might do another follow-up with another whimsical creature. There's tons of magical beasts out there that we can relate to and learn from. So there could be a follow-up in the future.
I would love that. That would be super cool. I'm a ground dragon, it turns out.
Nice! Ground dragon. That's great. Yeah. Those ones are fun. Lots of good abilities there.
Oh, yeah. I had some other, I think I had E's. So the moon dragon was pretty close too.
Oh, yeah. I love the moon dragons too. It looks like there's some more ground dragons in the crowd. It's a popular one.
Yeah, ground dragons. Oh, well, thank you all so much for coming today. I hope everyone has a great Saturday. Please don't forget that you can purchase your copy of Be the Dragon at Mysterious Galaxy, and it will include a signed bookplate from the author, Catherine Manning. So go ahead and do that. There's a little purchase the Be the Dragon actually link right here, so you can purchase right there. You can also go on mistgalaxy.com or come in store or any of that. We have plenty of copies. Thank you so much, Catherine, and I hope you have a wonderful day. This was such a delight.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, friends. Go be the dragon.
Yes. More.
Bye. Bye.